Prime time in the Big Apple.
Yep.
New York sports humming.
Yep.
Back-to-back MetLife Sunday night, Monday night. Jets hosting the Bills Monday night. Giants hosting the Bengals. Let's jump to Monday night. Let's talk storylines. Saleh goes to London, comes back on a different plane. They fire him. Your thoughts here, all things Jets.
Yeah, it's tough. I was surprised. I think the initial thought was like, wow. Because I'm not sure that fixes the football. Like, I don't know how much that does for the football team, right? So I was shocked.
To your credit, you said last week on the program, Juice Bar, Hackett and Rodgers are like this. Now, anyone could have went, I guess, if you're talking coaches and accountability for this club. They take the head coach out, his defensive mind, by way of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Now, what does this do to the coaching hot seat and all things Rodgers Hackett?
Well, one thing about Saleh is I never saw him hold a clipboard or any paper or anything. Did you ever see anything? Did you ever see him with anything in his hands?
Leader of men not leading.
He kind of just was like,
he looks the part,
he
but
looks the part, arms are crossed. Like,
is he holding the chalk? I never see him holding the chalk.
I don't know how much coaching he has been doing for the last couple of years, more of an overseer. But if you're going to go that route, like, for example, Mike Tomlin hasn't seen a playbook in, I would say, a decade. Sure. And I'm not joking.
But top-tier motivator.
But when we talk about culture setting and the expectations, the standard is the standard, he has that job on lock. The time management, they don't have a lot of penalties. Like, the culture is there. That's where I think Saleh was lackluster. Now, when we talk about Rodgers and Hackett, I mentioned that because they are clearly a package deal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody else off of Hackett coming off what he did in Denver was going to hire him to do anything. But Aaron made sure he was around, and that's why he's with the Jets.
Right.
So, yeah, it's Does
it give him an uptick? Like you saw it with Pierce last year with the Raiders. Sometimes see it.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think so.
You go back to your original point.
I don't think he gives them an uptick. Like, I'm not sure that he lost the locker room. The defense was still playing really well. They battled back in that game in London. It's not like guys are quitting. They have a lot of question marks on the offensive side of the ball, first and foremost, and they've had a couple tough losses. As I mentioned, that Broncos game was in a tsunami. The other games they played were on short weeks. Then they have to go to London and play on the road.
So then I guess to your point then, those would be all situational spots for clipboard-less Saleh to manage better, I guess.
True. Yeah.
If he wasn't managing those little moments, monsoon, across the pond traveling, that's where you would look at him. What I'm concerned about is you go back 2 weeks, Breece Hall ran for 4 yards, 10 attempts. Who's that on? And then you wake up on a Sunday morning and your boy took the Jets +3. You were wise and stayed off it. We're already chasing live on a pick six, and that body language moment was crazy.
Well, as I mentioned, the problem with the team overall has been offense this year for me.
I think for anyone watching,
Breece Hall getting stuffed. He's a dynamic back. This retooled offensive line that you told us was going to be good, Tyron Smith, the rest of the crew, they haven't been that good. Aaron Rodgers has been up and down, hasn't looked overall that good. Garrett Wilson's going on podcasts saying, hey, man, the route tree I'm running now isn't as dynamic as it was in previous years. He said that into a microphone.
So here's the problem. Here's what we have. We have the wrong guy being fired.
Correct.
And the head coach is the sacrificial lamb in this moment when it really should have been Hackett. But your franchise guy, who you're not married to but you're dating, who's 40. What do we do here?
Correct.
How do you even unstick this?
Now, I'm not saying that Saleh was doing a bang-up job, but I'm not sure he deserved to get fired at this moment.
Well, if they beat the Bills Monday night, look at the win-loss column in the two-horse race that is the AFC East. I mean, the Patriots are packed in. The Dolphins, Sean Little could be quarterback better than Skylar Thompson and Huntley right now.
Sure.
This is a two-horse race against the other horse Monday night. That's what I'm curious. You get an uptick in all-out defensive effort. Maybe Allen, who doesn't play the Patriots and the Jets like he does the Dolphins. You catch an L. Now you're sitting here going, we're 3-3, tied for first with a head-to-head advantage. Where is Saleh when you need him? This is wild New York radio stuff right here.
Yeah,
I don't know how you undo it. Dude, and I said it last week, Rodgers has no wife, no kids. He's loaded in 40. He's on a yacht that he owns.
Yeah.
And he's got the guest list, too.
Yeah.
And he just said, I don't want Saleh on the boat, but Hackett's my guy. Dude, what do you do here?
I would be interested to see what comes of this down the road. All the insiders. Who made the call? Where was the conversation?
I'm too Italian to not know. This was a Goodfellas meeting of the 5 families, and Rodgers co-signed on it.
So Woody and Rodgers, basically.
I mean, you have to say Rodgers co-signed on this, did he not?
Yeah,
he had to.
He'd have to.
This is wild.
So yeah,
because now Ulbrich, the DC, who is handling X's and O's, has to now handle the clipboard conversations
and the X's and O's.
This is a nightmare. We got to go on a New York walk here. Talk this out. All right.
Quickly on the Bills, though. 3rd straight road game. They went to Baltimore and lost. Yeah. They went to the Texans and lost. Now they have to come on primetime in New York against a really good defense. That might be an advantage for the Jets, but this is another game that should be very, very tight.
Must be nice to have season tickets to a game like this. Shout out our guy, Ben. All right, let's talk other Sunday night matchup or other primetime matchup in MetLife. The Giants, who seem to have half the personnel as the Jets, but an excellently coached up club. Dable goes out, gets a win no one had on their bingo card in Seattle. And now we come back to base camp, and you're going against a 1-4 Bengals team, 3.5-point line here. Storylines, narratives around the Giants. We feeling optimistic.
Are you going to say it or you want me to?
Say it.
Daniel Jones has been playing solid football. Because I kill him when he's bad.
Talk to him.
He's been solid.
He's been more than solid. That was a Mike McDonald. That's a DC under head coach terms in Seattle.
That defense hasn't looked very good.
No Neighbors, no Singletary.
Yes.
Who are we throwing to in Madden? I don't know.
He hasn't been turning it over.
Correct.
He's been playing solid ball, so I got to give DJ some credit because weeks ago he was walking. He couldn't even get to his car without getting crushed by Giants fans and people around him.
Fair.
He's kept his head. He's played solid ball, and they're in a lot better position than I thought they would be. If you would have told me they were going to go to Seattle and get a W,
I don't think anyone would.
It wasn't happening, right? So he's been playing well. He hasn't been turning the ball over. He loses his top weapon. They still show up and play really, really well.
Do you expect that now? Is there expectations on this team to put a button on it? Like, are they expected at 3.5-point dogs Sunday night primetime to beat the Bengals?
No.
Still not?
No.
Okay.
Not yet, anyway.
That's primetime in the Big Apple.
And the market is kind of telling you that.
It's fair.
You can go ahead and 3.5 on primetime, where Daniel Jones is poor, 113 in primetime straight up, 12 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. He hasn't been great on primetime, but I'll say this. 2 weeks ago, coming off of the Bengals' performance against the Chiefs, where I thought they should have won, I thought that was a bad call on PI on 4th down.
Right.
I would think this line's 6.5 with Bengals coming to the Giants. It's 3.5. So I got to give the Giants credit. They've been playing a lot better than I thought.
If I'm Ulbrich, I kindly asked Dable to leave some Notre Dame bulletin board quotes in the locker room for us because they're going to need it. That's Giants. That's Jets. That's primetime Big Apple talk.